Hello friends, today we are going to stitch a single Katori blouse. Before moving on to the concept, we will look few instructions on how to print your PDF patterns. First of all, you should print out your pattern in its actual size. So under the option page size, click onto the actual size, and that's how you will get out your real size pattern out. There is one more thing to be noted as the orientation of the sheets. All you need is to click onto auto and you can get your actual size pattern. What if in case if you do not have an option known as auto, and by the time you should look into your cutting instruction sheet for the orientation. Just check whether it's portrait or landscape orientation. If it's a portrait, click onto portrait, and that's so simple as that. Or if it in landscape orientation, click onto landscape. And yes, you can now print to get the actual size pattern out. So next we will move on to PDF paper cutting. Here we are going to cut off the unwanted edges by connecting the matching signs. In this process, I'm going to connect these 4 matching signs. Match it by drawing lines which connects one sign to the other. First of all, align the PDF sheets according to the instruction sheet given, and here I arrange it in portrait form. Once when you arrange the sheets, you should start connecting the matching signs and cut them off. Once it's done, you should stick them up together with the reference of the instruction sheet. Stick them up properly to get the actual size patterns. And finally, once when you stick them up all together, you can check and confirm whether you have printed it out properly in its real size. So you can check it out as I do. I here check few measurements on the sheet. So here it is 5.79 inches at the front side. And look, it's the same when I measure it. To ensure it, I'm going to cross-check few more measurements. Just have a look whether it meets the measurement or not. When it does not meet the measurement on the sheet, then the printout which you have taken may not be in its real size. So at the time you can follow the printing instructions which I said you at the beginning of the video. So yes, the printout that I have taken is in its real size. And you can now cut out the pattern. Yes, start cutting out the pattern along the cut line. And here is the actual size pattern ready. It's done, and next we are going to trace those patterns on the fabric. Have both the main fabric and the inner lining at fold. and trace out the back pattern by having the center back along the fold. So you can now trace out the pattern. Trace it well along the pattern. Then provide a seam allowance of 0.50 inches along the neck, shoulder, armhole, and at the bottom. Then 1 inch at the side for ease. So, next pin it up properly wherever needed, then cut it along the seam allowance. And yes, we have got the pattern ready in both main fabric and in the inner lining. The same way you can trace out your front portions, have the fabric at fold. Place the pattern upon the fabric and trace it out. Then I provide seam allowance of 0.50 inches all around. Pin them up together properly and cut the fabric out. Then the cup portion, I have used a different fabric for the cup. Okay, so similarly have the fabric at fold and place the pattern at cross and trace it out. This is known as cross-cutting. Now provide a seam allowance of 0.50 inches all around the pattern and 0.25 inches at the dart. Pin it up and cut down the pattern. So it is ready. And we have to next trace out the waist portion. So repeat it by having the fabric at fold and place the pattern, trace it out, and provide seam allowance of 0.50 inches all around except at the side. So at side it's 1 inch of seam allowance, then cut them out. So the front body patterns are ready with this. Then finally it's the sleeve pattern to be traced out yet. Trace the pattern out and make sure you mark the notches along with it. Now provide seam allowance of 0.50 inches along the armhole curve and at the bottom, then provide 1 inch at the side. So this is your sleeve pattern. We have traced out all the patterns, so next we will move on to stitching. By stitching the Katori blouse, there is an important thing to be noted. While sewing the cup portion, do not sew it by this way as I do now. The result of this stithing method is you will get a sharp points at the bust. Look, this is the image of it. So instead follow this method. Place the pattern upon the fabric while you sew, and stitch the dart well along the pattern. When you do so, you get a curve and not sharp points. So now it seats well along the bust area. I think it might help you while you stitch. Then next we will stitch those darts at the center front. Once you stitch those darts, your cup will be ready. You can then sew it up with the front portion. Sew them up properly along the curve. And repeat the same for the other side. Then make cut. I'm going to do the same on the main fabric too. Once it's done, we are going to press the seams well at the inner side. Yeah, this is what we need. Next, we are going to sew the darts at the back body. Sew it well along the dart markings. Body is also ready. And we are now going to attach both the bodice at the shoulder. Do it separately for both inner lining and the main fabric. Now have the good side of both the fabrics together. And stitch them along the neck. Sew them up together properly along the curve. Now you make cuts along the outer edges. Then invert it inside out and iron well along the neck as I do now. So yes, it's almost ready, and to make it much better, we will attach the waist along with the front body. So first, sew the main fabric along the body as I do. Then you can attach the inner lining along the inner side. So at the bottom you can fold both the fabric inwards and stitch them up. That's good. Just look at the finishings. It looks good both from inside and outside. At the time, we will finish off the bottom edges of the back body too. Have a cut piece of 2 inches. Stitch them upon along the bottom edges. Then flip them inwards, double fold and stitch them up. The body is ready and we will now move on to the sleeves. Place the inner lining upon the good side of the sleeve and sew them up along the edges. Once you stitch it, you can invert them like I do. Stitch both the sleeves. And flip the way I said and iron them well at the edges. So now the sleeves are also ready. Place the center notch along the shoulder point and the notch at the armhole curve towards the front. Sew them up well. Repeat the same on the other side. So, finally we are going to attach hook holds. Next is we are going to make plackets with V-shaped hook holds. I here have a cut piece of 4 inches. I double fold them, make stitches at both upper and lower bottoms of center front length. Then invert them inside out. You should get them stitched up with the inner side at the center back. Then flip it outwards and provide V-stitches. On the other side, sew it along the outer side and flip it inwards and make a stitch. That's over and your final product is ready. I hope you may all enjoyed it. Thank you.